All right, today we're going to jump right into the Book of Amos. And what's wild is that this message from an ancient prophet feels like it could have been written yesterday. It really forces us to ask a tough question. And that question is really the heart of the whole book. You see, Amos was sent to a nation that on the surface had it all figured out. They were rich, they were powerful, totally secure. But just below that shiny exterior, the whole thing was rotting from the inside out. So let's see how this all unfolds. Now, the guy delivering this bombshell message, he wasn't some polished official or a high priest. Nope, he was a shepherd, a farmer named Amos, a total outsider. And he gets called to go speak truth to power in the northern kingdom of Israel right when they were at the absolute height of their game. So let's talk about that prosperity and corruption. I want you to picture it. We're in the 8th century BC. King Jeroboam II is on the throne. And for Israel, this is the good life. I mean, this was their golden age. They're winning wars, the economy is booming, and there's luxury everywhere you look. But all that glitter was just hiding something really sick. I mean, just look at this contrast. It is absolutely wild. On one hand, you've got all the signs of a booming society. Big military wins, a strong economy, people sleeping on fancy ivory beds. But what was the cost? Well, the poor were getting completely trampled. People were literally being sold into slavery for something as cheap as a pair of shoes. And their religion? It was just an empty show, totally hypocritical. Okay, so things are bad, but God doesn't just jump straight to judgment. First, out of mercy, he sends warnings. He gives them a chance, a chance to turn around. And he does this by showing Amos these powerful visions of what's coming down the pike. So the first vision is this massive swarm of locusts, just about to wipe out all their crops. Total devastation. But Amos, he steps in. He pleads for the people. He basically says, God, please forgive them. They're just a small nation. And what's amazing is God listens. He actually relents, shows compassion, and calls off the disaster. And then it happens again. A second vision comes, this time of a fire so powerful it's drying up the land and even the oceans. And just like before, Amos begs God to stop. And again, God relents. You got to get this. This is the key point. Mercy wasn't just offered once. It was offered twice. God is showing incredible patience here, giving them every single chance to get it right. But this is where everything changes. This is the turning point. They were given 2 chances, and they didn't take them. They didn't change. So God shows Amos a third vision. And this time, the whole tone shifts. The time for warnings is over. So what does Amos see? A plumb line. It's a really simple tool, right? Just a weight on a string that builders use to make sure a wall is perfectly straight, perfectly vertical. But the symbolism here, wow, it's so powerful. That straight line represents God's unbending, perfect standard of what is right and just. See, the whole idea is that the nation of Israel, it was built to be straight and true, lined up with God's ways. But over time, it's like the foundation settled and the walls became crooked. So when God holds up that perfect, straight plumb line next to them, it just reveals how bent out of shape they've become. They completely fail the test. And then you get this absolutely chilling line from God. I will not again pass by them anymore. But notice what's not there. What's missing? Amos doesn't say a word. He's silent. No pleading, no begging for mercy this time. It's as if he knows the time for second chances is done. Judgment is coming, and this time, it's final. So what happens when you fail the plumb line test? What's the consequence? Well, that's what the next couple of visions are all about, and they are absolutely devastated. First up, Amos sees a basket of summer fruit. It's a simple image, but it's loaded with meaning. Think about it. When fruit is perfectly ripe, what's the next step? It's either eaten or it rots. It's at its very end. And that's Israel. They are ripe for judgment. The clock has run out. Now, the judgment that's coming is going to be bad. There's disaster, there is mourning, but Amos reveals a punishment that is, frankly, way more terrifying than any physical catastrophe. So, what's the most frightening kind of famine you can imagine? It's this, a famine not of bread or water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. Think about that. That's the ultimate consequence. The people had told the prophets to shut up. They didn't want to hear God's word. So God's response is, fine, you want silence? You've got it. He's going to go silent. and a spiritual famine is going to sweep the land. People will be scrambling, desperate for a word of hope or guidance, and all they'll find is nothing, just silence. Okay, so we've hit rock bottom. Judgment seems final and absolute. And then the book takes this incredible, dramatic turn. It's a total plot twist. Just when you think all hope is lost, God pivots and makes this stunning promise about the future. He promises that one day he's going to raise up the fallen tabernacle of David. He's going to rebuild it. Now, this is way more than just fixing a building. It's a promise of a future king from David's line, a Messiah, who's going to do more than just rebuild Israel. He's going to build a kingdom of peace where everyone from all nations is welcome. And the book closes with this just beautiful, mind-blowing image of a renewed world. The land is going to be so incredibly abundant that the person plowing the field will literally be catching up to the person still harvesting. I mean, the harvest won't even end before it's time to plant again. It's this perfect picture of the curse being totally reversed and God's goodness just overflowing everywhere. So let's step back and recap. What are the big takeaways here? The Book of Amos really hammers home a few key things. First, God is holy, and he cares about real, actual justice, not just people going through the motions of religion. Second, he holds people accountable, especially for how they treat the poor and the oppressed. And finally, that turning a deaf ear to his word, well, that leads to disaster. And that brings us full circle, right back to where we started. The message of Amos just refuses to stay in the past. It's timeless, because it makes us hold up that same plumb line to our own lives, to our own society. So, if a plumb line were held against our world today, what do you think it might reveal? In an age with so much wealth right alongside so much brokenness, it's a question we really have to wrestle with.